Hello to you, I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Let's talk about some very cold weather that we're dealing with all across Southeast Texas. Just check out the temperature change over the last 24 hours. We actually have those temperatures that are feeling a whole lot colder out there. In fact, running about 25 to almost 40 degrees colder than we were at this time yesterday. So we certainly are feeling that brutally cold Arctic air, and it's only going to get worse as we go through the rest of today and tonight. In fact, the National Weather Service has decided to upgrade the area to an extreme cold warning. We were under a cold weather advisory for Houston and the Woodlands, but now they've decided that yes, those wind chills could get a little lower than anticipated, and we do have the potential for some wind chills maybe near 10 degrees or 12 degrees right here in Houston. So for that reason, we do have an extreme cold warning now in place for all of Houston, really inland parts of Harris County, also for Montgomery County and over towards Fort Bend County and even Waller County, and this is going to be from midnight tonight until 10 a.m. Thursday. So this means that there could be a few spots with single-digit wind chills. More likely we'll have wind chills in the low teens for Houston, but it's basically a reminder that it's going to be dangerous cold that we will be dealing with out there for tonight. So you need to bundle up, extra layers, try to cover as much of that exposed skin as possible. Notice the extreme cold warning extends back west, so it does include College Station, Brenham, Huntsville, Sealy, Rosenberg, several locations across Southeast Texas. If you're not under the extreme cold warning, then you are going to be under that cold weather advisory, and that cold weather advisory is a little less severe, but it does mean that those wind chill values are going to be likely in the teens, and this stretches from Cleveland to Liberty down to Baytown, League City, Angleton, and Lake Jackson. So maybe not single digit wind chills, but wind chills in the mid to upper teens, possibly low 20s, are going to be likely for you in these spots. So everyone needs to bundle up because this is certainly brutal cold, dangerous cold, and you need to be prepared for these conditions. So the good news is that there's no snow or ice, but it will be very cold at least through Friday. So tonight we've got to get through all of Thursday and Friday before those temperatures start to warm back up. But just think of warmer thoughts. And also keep in mind that by the middle of next week, we'll probably be back close to 80. So this is not going to stick around. Hard freeze, though, likely for many of you tonight with those dangerous wind chills when you add in that wind. And then we've got more big temperature swings and rounds of rain over the next week. Like I said, very big warm up next week. And we've got some rain to deal with likely over the weekend and maybe another shot during the week next week. Right now, though, no rain, no ice, no snow out there, just this thick deck of clouds that we can't seem to get rid of. In fact, the clouds have been keeping it super chilly all afternoon long. We were hoping to get a few breaks in those clouds, a few peaks of sunshine to help to heat things up. But guess what, folks? That's just not happening. In fact, over the last few hours, those temperatures have actually fallen. We're going in the wrong direction. Down to around 31 degrees in Houston. We were up to about 33 a few hours ago, but now we're at 31. That is sub-freezing. That feels like temp of 19 degrees when you have that strong northerly breeze blowing in around 19 miles per hour. So it is super cold out there. It's windy, very dry air in place. We got dew points in the 20s. Bottom line, you need to bundle up. Thick hat, gloves, scarf, boots, heavy coat, whatever you need, because it is certainly a chilly one out there. How about you in Galveston, Tomball, Sugar Land? 36 degrees now in Galveston with wind around 29 miles per hour, mostly cloudy there. Still an overcast sky for you in Tomball and Sugar Land, 31 to 33 degrees, and it is still breezy for you as well with that wind blowing in out of the north-northwest between 13 to about 21 miles per hour. As far as temperatures elsewhere, it's cold everywhere, brutal cold, temperatures ranging from the 20s to the 30s. So we've got middle 20s up towards Huntsville, low 30s for Houston, middle 30s for Galveston, and right around 32 degrees for you in LaPorte and Anahuac. What about the wind? Well, it has been strong all day long. We've had gusts anywhere from 30 to 40 miles per hour. We did get rid of the wind advisory around lunchtime, right around noon, but it is still breezy. We're below wind advisory criteria, but still very windy conditions out there for the area. So we've got winds sustain close to 20 miles per hour in Houston, close to 30 miles per hour for you in Galveston, and wind right around 21 miles per hour over towards Columbus, 25 miles per hour for you in Wharton. So when you think about the actual air temperature combined with all of that wind, you get that feels like temperature. What does it actually feel like to your body? Any skin out there that's exposed, and this is what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel like it's 19 in Houston, 13 in Huntsville, 15 in College Station, 13 in Brenham, and it feels like it's a mere 21 degrees in Sugar Land. So this is, once again, dangerous cold. We're talking about not just a very cold air temperature, but a lot of wind to go along with that. So you certainly want to try to limit that time outdoors. Maybe you're thinking about going for a jog or a walk this evening. Maybe you want to find somewhere indoors to do that, because you really don't want to be out in this type of weather for a prolonged period of time. If you're out there for a long time, this is the type of weather where frostbite could occur. So just make sure you're extra careful. Try to cover any exposed skin if you must go outside. You don't want to be shivering like this guy over here. This is what happens when you're talking about wind chill. That wind picks up. Normally you have your body heat all around your entire body, but when that wind picks up, that heat starts to escape and you start feeling cold if you are not covered up and you don't have on enough layers. So we are certainly in the middle of a major Arctic blast, really invading the center portion of the U.S., really from the northern plains through the central plains, Midwest, all the way down to the southern plains. We're not getting the worst of it. The worst of it in this pink area stretching from Dallas up to Chicago and Minneapolis, but we are getting some of that Arctic air, and it is super cold, a very noticeable difference across the area. In fact, like I said, about 25 to almost 40 degrees colder than we were at this time yesterday. Right now, 31 in Houston, only 24 in Dallas, so sub-freezing for Dallas, Austin, Houston, teens for you in Amarillo, and of course it gets even worse as you head up into the central and northern plains. Only 8 degrees in Kansas City right now and 8 in Minneapolis. So things are starting to kind of dry out a bit for much of the center of the country, but the active weather continues to be where that front is located. It's going to be across parts of Florida, and then we've got a big winter storm right around the mid-Atlantic, right along the east coast. So it's going to be pretty messy there with a mix of rain, freezing rain, sleet, and snow for parts of the mid-Atlantic. For the middle of the country is really this extreme cold warning that millions of people are experiencing. Like I said, we've been added to that extreme cold warning right here in Houston. It's over towards Austin, up towards Dallas, Oklahoma City, Wichita, and it extends even farther to the north. Outside of that extreme cold warning, we've got the cold weather advisories that go all the way over to Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, even into parts of Alabama and Tennessee. So it's going to be hard to escape this Arctic blast. You would have to drive many, many hours. So plan on a very frigid night. Plan on very dangerous cold impacting much of the region. So do what you can to prepare. Don't forget about insulating your pipes. Make sure your pets are warm and dry and safe. Make sure you're safe and your kids, your loved ones. Extra layers. Try to limit that time outside. And make sure your plants are covered, or bring them in, or do what you can to keep those safe as well. All across the state right now, those temperatures are pretty chilly. Really, the only milder spot would be West Texas, El Paso, right at 60 degrees, but we've got 20s, 30s, and 40s for just about everyone else. So those temperatures will be going down, down, down as we go through the night. In fact, I want to track those temperatures for you. Where do we end up for Thursday morning? Maybe as you're heading out to work, to school. Well, I think for Houston, likely around 27 degrees, but you've got to add in that wind. We're still going to have a northerly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour, gusts to 20 miles per hour, and that is going to amount to wind chills that could be in the low teens, close to 10 by Thursday morning. Teens will be likely for the actual temperature by Thursday morning for Dallas, likely down to single digits in Lubbock, up towards Abilene. As we go into tomorrow afternoon, we are hopeful that yes, we will get a little more sun, and that will mean temperatures finally climbing back to the 40s and staying, instead of staying stuck in the 30s all afternoon long. So we got to get through this really chilly night, down to 27 tonight in Houston, likely low 20s for Huntsville, Conroe, Tomball, hard freeze likely for you. So plan on some very dangerous cold all across the area. What about the expected wind chills as you head out the door for Thursday morning? Likely in the single digits in Brenham, 9 degrees. That feels like temp. 10 in Huntsville, 11 in Columbus, 14 for you in the Woodlands, and likely middle teens for the Houston area. We will slowly but surely crawl out of this deep freeze. We got a few more nights of freezing temps and a few more mornings, Thursday morning, Friday morning, but likely staying above freezing Saturday morning, and those overnight lows back up to the 40s for Sunday morning and for Monday morning. So things will improve. You'll see a drastic improvement with this chilly weather as we go into next week. Highs only in the low to mid 40s for the next few afternoons, but back up to the 70s above normal once again by early next week on Monday. So the general trend is that yes, we are stuck in the freeze with the Arctic air for the next few days, but looking towards much of next week, really the central and western portion of the U.S. really starting to crank up that heat. So those temperatures are going to climb well into the 70s here. In fact, we can't even rule out a few spots reaching 80. So it will be feeling a lot more like spring for next week. And as far as the precip outlook for much of next week, this model showing precip right around average, maybe slightly below normal, but probably about close to average. So we'll have a downpour here or there, but no sign that we're going to have a lot of widespread or heavy precipitation. So it doesn't appear that we're going to have a lot of rainy days next week, but the good news, if you're tired of the Arctic air, it does appear that it will be warming up nicely. Well, my advice, stay inside, stay warm, stay safe. It is going to be really uncomfortably cold, dangerously cold out there tonight. The coldest night of this latest cold spell coming up. So do what you can to stay safe, enjoy the heat, and think of warmer days ahead. 80s or upper 70s likely as we go towards next week. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade. Stay safe out there and enjoy the rest of your day.